Welcome. We're here to talk about the Minneapolis Police Department Community Service Officer Program. Give you some information, fill you in. I'm going to go through a PowerPoint that'll hopefully help answer your questions. My name is Bill Champa. I am from Human Resources. I've been with the city for about 20 years and I'm really excited and proud of this program that we're going to talk about. We have some other folks joining us. Heather Rendy is from Human Resources. If you want to ask questions later about the application process, Heather's a good resource. We have some other folks, and let's see if I can recall everyone. Sergeant Boyd disappeared on us, but we have Sergeant Lewis from Backgrounds. We have Commander Horn. There's Sergeant Boyd from Recruitment. These folks are great resources, and while I'm going to be doing a lot of the talking, you'll have an opportunity to ask them questions, whether you do it in this group setting or you want to do it privately afterwards. So just a note of caution, we got to be on our best behavior because Danielle is here. We are recording this so that we can play it back. You can watch this. Others can watch this so you can get all the information that you need. So without further ado, I will jump right in and talk about the Community Service Officer position. We're going to talk about the selection process and just a few other things along the way. Feel free, if you have questions, to raise your hand and let me know, and either I or one of our subject matter experts here can help us with that. The other thing I will add, these folks who have joined us from the police department, if you have any questions about being a Minneapolis police officer, any burning questions are also good resources to talk to about that. So we are here to talk about our community service officer position, and you should have a handout that is this PowerPoint. There's also a job description. The position is open, and I'll probably say this 2 or 3 times, through the 16th of August. So if you haven't applied and you are interested in applying, please do so. We'll talk a little bit about the application process. We'll talk about the hiring and selection process. We'll focus a little bit on backgrounds and some of the other steps in our hiring process. So first of all, just quickly, Minneapolis. We are the city of lakes. We have several goals with the city: living well, one Minneapolis, economic activity and innovation, great places, and a city that works. We're proud of our goals. We are a large city. About 425,000 residents make up our city. Very vibrant. We are facing a lot of change like many large cities throughout this country. We're proud of our park system, our bike system. We've got a lot of things that we are proud of in Minneapolis. A little bit about the police department, our mission, values, and goals. We are a public safety agency that relies upon trust, accountability, and professional service to the citizens of Minneapolis for our effectiveness. We recognize that public safety is not just the absence of crime, it is the presence of justice. We're truthful, ethical in all we do, say, and write. We try to hold each other accountable. We build and rely upon trust with our communities, and we do not engage in conduct, public or private, that would sully or shame the department. And if that's done, we try to deal with it. Our values and our goals are around trust, accountability, and professional service. So in the police department, we are the largest law enforcement agency in the state. There are a lot of opportunities. If you pursue this CSO opportunity and become a police officer, there are a lot of opportunities, and I'll just quickly go through them. 911 patrol is the kind of that first responder. We have 5 precincts geographically throughout the city. There are various opportunities to engage with our communities in those precincts. We have a whole lot of things happening with investigations around violent crime, robbery, gun violence, sex crimes, domestic arson, traffic, juvenile, human trafficking, canine, just to name some of them. And then we have these other specialty units, the Bicycle Rapid Response Team, crisis negotiator, a mobile field force, mounted patrol, range, SWAT, defensive tactics. My point here is there's, as the largest law enforcement agency in the state, we do have a lot of opportunities that you could eventually get into. We experience a lot of different calls for service. Some examples are check the welfare, disturbance calls, unknown trouble, suspicious person, suspicious vehicle, narcotics complaints, domestic, shots fired, and traffic enforcement, all over the board. So let's talk about the community service officer position and this program. This is a pathway, and it is a pathway to becoming a Minneapolis police officer. So if we go up this little ladder, we have the program that you're applying for or might apply for. We'll go through a selection process. I'll talk a little bit about what you can expect in the program, but kind of at a high level, what we do is in the state of Minnesota, you need to be licensed to be a peace officer, and there's a board called the Post Board, and there are a lot of requirements that anyone, whether it's Minneapolis, St. Paul, Bemidji, are required to meet those standards and those requirements to become a peace officer. We help you get there, and that's what this program is designed for. So the 2-year law enforcement degree, we help with that. We pay for education. We pay for skills, training. We offer on-the-job, hands-on experience for you, and there will be mentoring along the way. All of that is to get you within any, people are at different places in their journey. Some folks are just starting out. Some might have a year or 2 under their belt in terms of the education piece or a few classes. So everyone's at a different place. But within about 1 to 3 years, we want to get you to where you are post-eligible. That's the ultimate goal of the program, so that you can then advance or promote to become a police officer. And so then there's the ultimate goal. So that's the ladder. Those are the steps for this pathway program. So as I said, it is a program to becoming a police officer. And here are some of the duties: assist the department and the community by promoting intercommunication, understanding, cooperation between the police department and the diverse communities of Minneapolis. Assist our patrol folks in non-enforcement activities, respond to citizen requests for service, assist in traffic control, special events, major fires, parades, accidents, etc. All of this is just foundational work to give you some experience and exposure to what the next step would be, which would be police officer. Our CSOs work 20 hours per week in the MPD while enrolled as a full-time student in an approved 2-year law enforcement program. They can work 40 hours per week after completing skills. So we have some of our folks who are 20, we have some 30, some 40. It just depends where you are in your journey on your way to becoming peace officer ready. So here are the minimum qualifications, and you'll see this December 27th date mentioned several times. It's important. So you must be at least 18 by December 27th. You must have a high school diploma or equivalent. Must be accepted or enrolled in a law enforcement program at a regionally accredited college, university by December 27th. Must have and maintain a valid driver's license. You must not have taken and passed the Minnesota Board of Post-Licensing exam before that date. And must not have been convicted of a felony. Must be able to relate and work effectively with people from diverse backgrounds and perspectives. And then you must continue employment with the Minneapolis Police Department for a period of 3 years following hire as a police officer, or pay back the cost of tuition paid by the department. And we'll talk about what that looks like here in a few minutes. So this is Chief Arredondo, and if you were to interview with him, you're going to hear some of these things in terms of what are we looking for? What are the characteristics that he is looking for? And this chief or his designee will be involved in an interview, a final interview of anyone he hires. If he can't be there, he's going to put one of his best and brightest folks at the table. But we're looking for a strong sense and commitment for public service, outstanding character and sound judgment, excellent work ethic, effective oral and written communication skills, interpersonal tact, empathy, and compassion. So later when I talk about our interviewing, keep this in the back of your mind. So our application process, we opened on July 22nd. We're open through the 16th. So all of our application process is online. You need to apply online. There's the website. You click on Minneapolis Jobs, current job openings, and you will see Community Service Officer. And you'll see several other positions out there. 911 dispatcher is open right now, by the way, but we're here to talk about CSO. So this is important. Any documents such as a resume can be uploaded within the online application. However, that does not replace the application. Because we are a civil service, we're kind of overseen by a civil service process. We still use online applications, and we must. And so for you to apply, that's what you need to do, the online application form. Submitting the resume in lieu of it will be considered incomplete and may result in disqualification. You can do it in addition to, but we are looking at that application. So here are some important reminders to know. You should have a copy of the job announcement. It is posted online, but read it carefully. Read it multiple times and follow the instructions. You want to make sure that you, when you're applying, include an email address, a mailing address, a phone number, and all the screening questions. So at the end of the application, there's probably 20 maybe what we call supplemental questions. Some of them are related to post and the background process that we have to ask, and then others are about you. So make sure you complete the supplemental questions or screening questions as they're listed here. So before I jump into something called an oral exam, are there any questions so far? So I'm going to start getting into process. After you've applied, we go through a selection process. We look for minimum qualifications, and then we are going to invite folks to, I'm sorry, the question in the back.
Yeah. Yes, I had a question about, like all the change, like in the city. And so you kept on speaking about all the change, like happening here. And are you primarily speaking to the George Floyd incident and the riots and the protesting?
A couple of things. So yeah, that's probably the most direct. So The change, there's a question on the ballot this fall that could change policing.
Yes.
So,
And they're gonna take away guns from cops?
no.
No. Okay.
We will have, regardless of what happens there, regardless of what happens, we're going to be a police or public safety department. We must have post-licensed peace officers. What that structure around us looks like, that's the piece that remains to be seen. So, and we are hiring. We're hiring at least 20 CSOs. We're hiring, we have a cadet class we'll be starting, and then a recruit class, I believe, in November.
I have a question.
Yes.
How often is the recruitment, the academy for police?
Yeah, good question. So, did everyone hear that? So, how often is the Recruit Academy? So, in other words, if you're ready, you do everything you do. This isn't a cohort where everyone comes in together. You're all in different places. Say you folks are all ready within 6 months, and you guys got 2 to 3 years to go, sorry. But we have an academy at least once a year, sometimes twice.
Is it like summertime, wintertime?
It varies, it really varies, yeah.
If I might interject on that, my name is Jeff Park. I'm one of the cadre officers for the Recruit and Cadet Academy. We just graduated one recruit class this year, a couple months ago. We have another recruit class starting on August 30th, and a cadet class starting around December 27th of this year. And we'll have another recruit class possibly in January. Right now, there's a big hiring boom, so they're probably going to have 3 classes a year into the foreseeable future.
And they're about 3 months long?
It depends. Depending on where we are, the academy can either run around 14 to around 17, 18 weeks. Right now, the average is around 16 weeks from start to finish.
Other questions? I'm going to jump into the kind of the process then. So we obviously want to meet and talk to candidates. So we do something, and our terminology might seem a little bureaucratic or civil service. This comes kind of from our civil service language. So we do something called an oral exam. It is merely a structured interview, okay? So we're interviewing, we're asking every candidate the same question in the same order. We have panels, and so I want to tell you a little bit about this. If you get to this point, first of all, what it is and what you could expect. So it is an interview, very structured. We are conducting these virtually still. We're probably going to perhaps move back to in-person, but this initial oral board, oral exam they're being done virtually. Okay, it's structured, competency-based interview, same questions asked of all candidates. So we're going to ask you the same question, and sometimes people say, well, what kind of questions? Well, think of an interview. Think of what we're looking for, which is in your handout. Many of our questions will be designed around getting at your education, your experience, your volunteer efforts, your extracurricular activities, interests, those types of things. So we give 25 minutes to complete the interview with what we call an oral board, which is usually 2, perhaps 3 individuals. There's often 1 or 2 sworn folks at the table, and then a civilian or someone from HR there. We're tentatively scheduling those for August 23rd through the 26th, so coming up fairly quickly. And then anytime we invite you, since we're doing everything through our online application system, we're going to send invitations to you electronically. So it'd be through an email for you to schedule or self-schedule the oral exam your time, and we'd give you slots and all that information. How should you prepare? Well, in terms of, it's like any other interview. So You want to dress professional, come prepared to answer the questions about yourself and what you have to offer the MPD. Arrive early, get to know the police department. If you have questions, you can ask them now. Coordinate current work schedule or other events so there's not a conflict. When we do these in groups, and we usually have a panel or two, and we devote time, and so it is very unlikely that we're going to reschedule the next week because we're on a schedule to hire a class or a group of individuals so we can start on a certain date. So we are on a timeline. So my point there is that it's really important to coordinate when you see that and roughly anticipate those dates. What to bring? So we do, and even though it's virtual, we will ask you to identify yourself. We'll have you just hold up an ID. In person, we of course would have you bring it to the interview. Virtually, we just want to see that you are who you are, state issued ID, a driver's license, a military ID, not a school ID. This probably is more for in-person, maybe not, but we are going to, like I said at the oral exam, pretty structured. So you don't need to bring a personal portfolio, cover letters, letters of recommendation. Don't bring large bags or purses or backpacks. So we do have some folks here from backgrounds, but I'd want to spend a little bit of time on this, going over. This is a key part of the selection process. We are required by Minnesota Post to look at, there are certain things that are allowed and not allowed, and that really gets at why we do what we're doing in our background process. So selected candidates will attend a background processing session. You would be notified. It's conducted by our MPD under the guidance of Sergeant Lewis. It may take up to, the background process may take up to 3 months to complete. Like I said, it's a requirement for any law enforcement position. What you can expect during this process, each candidate is assigned a background investigator, okay? We believe they're the best background investigators in the state, and they've been thoroughly trained to perform this type of investigation. They're fair, objective, extraordinarily thorough in their investigations. They're here to report and uncover the facts related to your history without bias or prejudice. They do not make decisions. They're just gathering facts, okay? But this, throughout the process, is probably one of the individuals you'll become closest to. We're frozen. So how can you prepare? I'll go through this quickly. For the background, obtain printed copies of high school and college transcripts. No printouts from the internet. Must obtain a copy with name and student ID printed on it. Do not need to be sealed or certified. Provide copies of all military discharge papers like a DD-214, the long form version with status of discharge and reenlistment code. Birth certificate and or naturalization paperwork, state issued photo ID, driver's license, state ID, a vehicle insurance card. When we get to this point in the process, if you're in this point of the process, we'll remind you of all this, but just giving you a heads up. So you must be on time to your appointment with your background investigator. Be honest. If I learned one thing in 20 years, a lot of people get kicked out. They might be good people, but they may be lied. You need to be honest during this process. Complete every section of that thoroughly, and it is a packet that you would need to fill out. and then respond to the background investigator in a timely manner. So then we get through this, and I'll summarize these steps here in a little bit, but once you get through this piece, the police department will make some decisions with HR on who moves forward in the process. And this is based on everything we know up to that point. But then the next step is what I alluded to before, and this is what we call a department interview. It is usually with the chief or his designee. So a 25-minute in-person interview with Chief Arredondo or one of his other chiefs. You must bring a photo ID, and those are the dates, November 15, 16, that it's tentatively scheduled for. Again, through our email system, our process, we'll send you, you'll self-schedule, just like the oral exam. You'll pick a time, we'll give you choices, and then the same preparation as the oral exam. Questions to this point? So then we get to, we've gone through all this, still in the process, we do something called a conditional job offer. It's a job offer, but it has some conditions attached to it because we still have a few key steps left in the process required by the police department and the Minnesota Post Board. So we are going to then do a few things, and these are really the conditions. It's passing a pre-employment drug and alcohol test. We will call that a PDAT, but a pre-employment drug and alcohol test. A physical exam, a medical and psychological exam. So a little bit about the medical and psychological. We're really determining your ability to do the job now and throughout your career. To prepare for that, there'll be a health history questionnaire. Please respond thoroughly, honestly. The clinic that you go to, they'll indicate whether or not medical records will be required. No responses or records are shared with the MPD. Clinic will turn you away from your exam if they have requested records and then not received them. So they need that. They'll need that information once we get to this point. Be flexible, be available, check your email. So then we get to the final job offer. Yay. So successfully pass and meet all the conditions, you'll receive a final job offer finalizing the details. So now you've accepted the offer, we've moved through this process, and we're ready to start. So we have for the community service officer a shortened academy, or academy that's shorter than our recruit academy. It's 3 to 4 weeks, mostly Monday through Friday from 8 to 4 p.m. And some of the topics we'll cover general duties and expectations of the overview. We'll talk a little bit about the community. And then MPD policy and procedure review. There will be physical training during this time, defensive tactics, report writing, driver's training. And in 3 weeks, you'll get kind of an overview or a sampling of all of that. So it's important that we mention health and wellness. Health and wellness commitment is important. Police work is both mentally and physically challenging. So we're committed to our employees' health and wellness, and we do have some current fitness goals that we emphasize both during our academy and during the CSO program. And those are in your handout, and I'll just quickly go over them. So our current fitness goals include a vertical jump, and the standard is 13, or the goal is 13 inches. A 300-meter run, the goal is 82 seconds. A bench press, you can see the goals there. Sit-ups, and then 1.5 miles. So Like I said, wellness and physical fitness are very important. So we, as part of the academy curriculum and as part of the CSO program, will regularly exercise and assess those goals as a key part of the work we do here. So I'll spend just a little time on the education plan policy. So we're proud of our CSO program. I don't know of any others, and there might be some now, but we used to be the only program that would pay for tuition reimbursement. And we're still proud of that, but in return, we want some time back from you. And so I want to talk about the policy and the purpose of this. And that is, the education plan policy is to provide tuition assistance to those individuals who have been hired as CSOs, are enrolled in law enforcement program at a program approved by the Minneapolis Police Department, or have graduated with a 2-year or higher degree from law enforcement program approved by MPD. It must be an accredited program that prepares you to become post-licensed eligible, must consist of the generals, theories, and integrated practicum or skills. All CSOs who are not post-eligible and are currently enrolled and are will enroll within 3 months of hire are eligible. The covered expenses, and we go and we assess what the cost is, but we agree to lend up to $18,000 to cover the cost of tuition, textbooks, and parking if applicable. Remaining costs will be the responsibility of the CSO. We will not pay for courses that a student needs to retake in order to graduate or attain a grade of C or higher.
Is that 18,000 for the whole?
That's for the program.
Okay,
For-
not per year.
Not per year.
So that's for theory and speech.
Yes.
So it says the city will lend the $18,000, that means you have to pay it back?
You don't pay it back if you give us 3 years as a police officer. We'll cover this here. Coursework must be completed with a minimum grade of a C, minimum combined GPA of 2.5 on a 4.0 scale in the overall program. We do grade audits on a regular and unannounced basis. Must submit proof of grades to the MPD at the end of each class session. Should a CSO not meet the minimum grade expectations, a student will be placed on an academic review, and that is not limited to the CSO supervisor or coordinator conducting a thorough investigation into the reason for not meeting expectations. We try to work with folks. Academic review findings may result in not passing probation or disciplinary action up to and including termination. Yes, sir.
I may have missed this, but is there a clear way to see which programs are accredited by, accepted by NDD as a good enough program?
Yeah, so someone who's a little more current, there were 5 of them in the state. Is it 5?
It's Century and then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's like Normanville and Century and Inver Grove Heights.
Yeah.
I think if you go out to does the post licensing website, it has them listed on there, the post site. And I think there used to be 5, there may be more now. CSO must maintain full semester credits if for some unforeseeable circumstance, like personal, family illness, etc., must drop or can no longer enroll in the class. Notification must be made to our supervisor prior to withdrawal. So this is the key piece. It is a 3-year program. Must graduate from the program within 3 years of hire. And we do have a loan agreement that we would ask you to sign when we get to that point. And then that includes working 3 full years as a police officer after completion of the CSO program.
If
Yes,
we don't
sir.
take the tuition reimbursement, do we still have to commit 3 years
If you don't, you can only be a part of this program.
if you take?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's designed for, yeah, for, well, let me rephrase this. If you are not, if you meet the requirement and you haven't taken the post-test,
Yeah, so say I have a 2-year, but I just have to do, like the post certification, and I don't need a tuition reimbursement because I get tuition reimbursement through something else.
so we would, we'd still want the 3 years, but the payment back would be the actual amount, not the 18,000.
Yeah, but what if we don't take it?
It's to come through our CSO program, you have to do the 3 years.
Do you have to take the reimbursements?
Well, if you are, if you are ready to take your post licensing test, I mean, this is a feeder system to becoming a Minneapolis police officer. So if you, let's say, are at the very tail end and don't need that 18,000 or don't need any of it, but you're coming in through this program, it's still the 3 years, and the only way you'd still owe us 3 years, but the only way you'd pay back is what you actually borrowed. If it's nothing, it's nothing.
So not interrupt, so where are you at in school?
Well, I completed my 2-year and then I'm going back. Well, I just started my 4-year. And I was thinking whether just to go and do my post certification instead,
Yeah.
or just continue to finish my 4-year and then do my post. Which if you give us 3 years, then you pay 18,000. Because I got the post 9/11 GI Bill and it doesn't cover 100% at St. Mary's because it's expensive. But if I finish my bachelor degree, I guess.
So you
would that
haven't
be-
taken your theory or skills yet?
No.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So then with the CSO program, we only pay for a 2-year and then for you to get post eligible. So if you decided to come with the CSO program, you could come here, right? If you're, and then take your theory and your skills. And then once you're post eligible, then you'd be able to go on to the Recruit Academy. So that's how it would work for you. And then once you went on to become a recruit police officer, whenever after that is when you could go back and complete your 4-year.
Okay.
But the CSO program would work for you because you could definitely become a CSO and we would pay for you to go to your theory and skills portion.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that answer your
But
question?
do I have to go full time? I know it said that
Well,
you
for-
have to go to school full time.
For theory, theory I believe is every day of the week.
Yeah, I'm going this fall, so I'm starting next month, so it's Monday through Friday, like 5 p.m. Well, it depends on if you pick
Yeah,
morning,
take
afternoon,
morning,
or
yeah.
night. But it's about 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday.
And then besides that, you would have to get in at least 20 hours of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be full-time for you to be, when you're doing the skills theory part and then
That would be
actually the
considered
hands-on part, that is full-time school. So then you would have the payment of just the theory part, that's what we'd be providing. We wouldn't be paying, like giving you $18,000. We would cover your costs for theory and for the hands-on skills portion of it. So that would be where your loan agreement would be. Does that make sense?
Even if I use like my post 9/11 and not take any of the money, that way I wouldn't have to pay back either way if I don't make it in 3 years.
What was the last part of it, if you used what?
So say my post 9/11 GI Bill, instead of using this, that
Gotcha,
way
instead of
if I
sitting
don't
paying.
make it to 3 years, I don't have to pay back. I mean, I won't owe the police department anything.
Well, I guess with that is, I would hope, right? The point of the
I would hope I
CSO
would make it
program.
too. You know, things happen.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah, well, then that would be on you, I guess, essentially, right? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't reiterate, and Bill made it very clear that our CSO program is made for us to prepare you to go into the Minneapolis Police Academy and therefore become a Minneapolis police officer. So, I mean, I don't know, are you worried that when you say if you make it 3 years, I guess I'm not understanding if you're saying like you would go somewhere else or if you.
Oh, just like with any job, I mean, you can think that that's what you want to do, and then, you know, a year down the road, something else happens, and people start dropping.
Yeah.
We see this as a career, not a job.
Correct. It's an investment that's made.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is what I want to do. I have 5 years of correction experience. I work for Hennepin County, and so I know this area very well too. This is what I want to do, but it's just 3-year commitment.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I will go back to, you know, I think what we're saying, and that is why this program was designed. And it really is to become a Minneapolis police officer. And that's where the 3 years comes in. I hear what you're saying, but that's really kind of how this pathway is used. Yeah.
So I have a question. So I'll be starting theory next month, so I'll do the skills in January.
Mhm.
So the academy for the CSO position starts in January, and I was speaking to Sergeant Hansen.
Me? Oh, are you Morgan?
Yeah, so I just, how would I do the academy if I'll actually be going through skills?
Yeah, so that's something that needs to be updated for this academy, because obviously everyone should be or will be in school in January. So then that's gonna be, Lieutenant Kaz and I will make it work, but we're gonna try to make it work, so we'll have it, but I don't know dates, times yet, because everyone will have different school schedules and be in school. Normally, why it's like that is because we try to do it like in summertime or before school, so then we, you know, your first 2-3 weeks, it's just the full academy. So with this one, don't worry about it. We will make it work on our end.
And then during that skills portion, I would be paid as a CSO.
Correct, full-time.
Yeah.
And how long is the skills program? I know it's a week, 40 hours.
It's generally about eight weeks or so, is it? Or-
Yeah, Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
7 to 3.
8 years.
or
And
3:30.
you'd be solely, if you're in skills, you're solely in skills.
It's
That's your day. You don't come back and work the balance. That is your work. That's
Yeah.
skills. You're considered full-time when you start skills.
So we'll be paying you for your skills and then be paying you full-time to more skills.
Question in the back.
Yeah, it's this question is, are you able to frankly speak, write, and understand any of the following language? And we have Spanish until none of the above. I only speak French and English, so it means I'm not eligible for this program because I don't speak any of these, but I speak French. And
You're
the
fine.
French is not in
You're fine.
You're fine.
Yeah, there's no way we can list every single language on the application, so it's just general. So
Okay.
congratulations. You got it.
Yeah.
You look over it.
Better not use those friends. I must say I can speak English 90% of the time.
So I'm going to kind of summarize, and if you have any other questions, we'll be around, but just kind of the key dates, that steps in the process. This is at the end of your handout. We opened for application in July. We close on the 16th. If you haven't applied and you are interested, I encourage you to go and do that. Don't wait till the last minute.
Quick question, so if you have already applied and, for instance, I changed my phone number, so would I just email that to you, or is there a way I can go back in the application and change that?
Heather, we can go back in and update the profile, right?
You can change your profile, but it won't change it on the application that she's already created.
So if we need to reach a candidate, we'll see that.
Typically we go by email though.
So you would rather have an email? Okay.
And can I say something about the emails too? So the emails come from NeoGov. We push them out through NeoGov. And depending on who you have email with, Gmail, Yahoo, whoever it is, we can't control what they do with your email. So a lot of the times those emails will go to your junk mail and just other places. So to keep yourself safe and make sure you don't miss any communications, you can enter your email, yes, but also log into your NeoGov profile because all emails are saved out there. So you won't miss anything when you keep checking that.
And NeoGov is the application system that you would apply through.
And check your junk mail as well.
Do it all, yeah. So the oral exam or structured interviews, August 23rd through the 26th. August through October, we will be conducting the backgrounds. A department interview would be after that, November 15, 16, followed by conditional job offers in mid-November, then December, January, and when we get to this part of the process, it moves rather quickly. The pre-employment exams, followed very quickly by final job offers, and then the academy. So that's the visual of the process. And that concludes. You've asked some good questions. Are there other questions that the group could benefit from? Otherwise, we have a couple of folks from our backgrounds unit. Sergeant Lewis, Officer Peterson in the back. Yep. We have from our recruitment, Sergeant Boyd and other folks. So feel free.
If I may I just
Yes.
take a moment?
Yes.
So I'm Sergeant Monica Hansen, and I am the sergeant of the CSO program. And I guess I'm just here to sell the program even more if the school plus getting paid isn't enough. So I actually started my career here as a CSO. So I had my 4-year degree from the U of M in communications. And at the time, we weren't offering the cadet program, so I went through the CSO route because I still needed my law enforcement certificate as well as my theory and skills. As a CSO, it's an awesome feeder program to eventually be promoted to the Recruit Academy, right? You're already part of the Minneapolis Police Department. You already have that foot in the door, if you will. So my job, my goal throughout your time as a CSO is to prepare you the best that I can so that you're successful going into the Recruit Academy and through the rest of your career. 3 days a week, we PT pretty hard, we get some really good workouts in, and we get to do a lot of cool things, right? Not only do we get to help out the different units within the police department and the different precincts, but last week, for example, the CSOs and I were out and about for the Aquatennial Parade. Saturday night, we were out and about for the Aquatennial fireworks. And as more community events start revving up again here, we're involved in those as well. The CSOs also get to do a lot of cool things with Sergeant Boyd with recruitment. They go out with her and help her recruit. But I just had a first set of my CSOs go into the Recruit Academy, and each and every one has come back and said, I mean, I shouldn't say this. You made the academy easier. Because you already know the precincts, you're already getting to know officers, you can kind of see how we roll here within the police department. You're getting out there, getting to know the communities, the different areas in the precincts. You just already have that one level above a recruit and or a cadet. It's fun. Lieutenant Kaz, she was a CSO. Really, it's kind of cool because you start as a family in the CSO program, and then you're that family throughout your whole career, because you kind of start from the beginning and then keep moving on up in the department together. So, I mean, for me, I guess this piece was awesome, but I just wanted to do my little plug, and maybe I thought you would have questions in regards to what a day in the life of a CSO looks like. Moving forward, I'll have a CSO at these information sessions so they can answer those questions, but I mean, anything on that or any other questions? I guess, yeah. Go ahead.
What type of shifts can we work? Like, can we work night shifts, for example? Just like, I'm just talking like regularly, like every day. So.
Right.
Like, what times of days will we?
Primarily during the day.
Okay.
So, like I said, it will be hard because your school schedules for this will already be in place. So we're gonna have to just roll with whatever we have, right? Which is fine. But generally, we like it so you can go classes during the day, right? But you have to at least get your minimum of 20 hours in during the daytime hours. And then generally, we like, it's pretty mandatory. Some classes can't be moved, theory classes most of the time can't be moved, but you are required to attend PT Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. But with that being said, this group is a little bit different since we're starting at the end of January. So we'll do what we have to, and then, but yeah, generally it's during the day. Yeah.
There's no-
Unless you work at Aquatennial Parade or fireworks.
I was there.
It is flexible too, the hours wise. So if you have school, let's say early in the morning or in the afternoon, come to work for a couple hours, go to school, and then you're back on the clock once you're right back here. So as long as you get that 20 hours a week minimum in, if you're part-time, that's all that matters. The academy is very flexible.
There's no opportunities with weekends instead of workdays.
Not at this time, no, yeah.
So there's a minimum of 20 hours, but can you request more hours? Like, can you work a 40-hour week?
Right now, we're at that about 20-25 minimum, and then as soon as you start skills, that's when you get to become full-time.
Okay. And how long is the period from like hiring to skills?
It depends on where you're at in school, yeah. So if you're just starting school, then it could maybe be about the 2-year. When I've been talking to some people here, you know, I understand it's hard to hear the part-time part, but it is pretty cool, the benefits that come with it, right? The school being paid for, just getting to be a part of the department and just kind of getting your foot ready in the door, you know what I mean? So, because a couple of people have contacted me and, you know, brought that up,
Yeah.
but I can't, you know, I made it work, and I'm glad I made it work, I guess. I can't put a dollar amount on what it's like to be a CSO, I guess, so, yeah.
So plus a dollar amount too, if you guys are thinking about it. A lot of times you take a look at the equipment list and say, oh my God, I gotta pay for all this stuff. A lot of the stuff the department will pay for. Some of the stuff you will have to pay out of pocket, of course, but some of that stuff you pay for is yours if and when you join the police academy. That's one piece of equipment that will move over to the academy. And then once you hit the academy, it's pretty much, you will get 3 years prorated on your clothing allowance, so that will also help you as well. So that's when you hit the academy.
What equipment is that we have to pay for?
You will get a sheet on what is needed. All the vendors are out there, they know what you need. We have a lot of the stuff here on hand, like shirts. You will have to buy pants, but there's some equipment that we will pay for.
Oh, go ahead, there was another, yeah, go ahead.
So with me starting the skills in January, so my only concern is depending on the recruitment for the police officer, I'll probably be done with skills maybe in May. So I'm just hoping, or my concern is that will I have enough time to actually experience the actual CSO position itself?
Commander, when was the, so the
February would be the next.
So she would miss that one and then,
November.
oh, November, so you would have,
The summer.
yeah, the summer to hang out with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be able
Yeah.
to get the experience.
For sure.
Morgan, and for your skills, are you doing the 9 days, which is 4 hours Monday through Friday, correct?
Theory for next month, but then skills would be full-time.
Is it full?
January.
It is full-time for that? I thought only summertime was full-time.
Summertime is accelerated.
Okay, so you go 8 hours a day for that portion too?
I think there was a question right here. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was kind of interested in Anthony, what kind of duties does a CSO take on as, you know, say versus a police officer or a training officer? Is there like a set of duties that like it's conventional in the day-to-day? I don't know, you brought it up like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a day-to-day.
No.
Now I'm just curious. You got
Yeah, for sure. So a CSO is a non-sworn position, right? So we aren't gonna be responding to 911 calls. So with that being said, like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have PT. And then the CSOs are assigned to a unit or to a precinct, unit being SWAT or investigations or something like that. And then the CSO will report to their assignment and basically do whatever they need them to do, whether it's,
Sweeping floors? or-
No.
no, that was back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah, yeah.
But if I get word of that, then there's gonna, but,
Do you request like certain requirements or different, like at least put like your interest level, like say from interest in investigations or like
yeah.
a certain precinct that I'm just curious about?
Yep, so when CSOs start and periodically we'll sit down and ask them what their interests are, I'll ask them. Obviously, we do the best we can to accommodate it, right? But if someone is super interested in something, I try to get them there. Right now, it's a little hard because there's only 12 CSOs, so we're spread very thin. But hopefully, with this lovely group of 40 CSOs we're gonna have January 31st, then that's gonna be a better opportunity for people to try different units out. You know, SWAT is already requesting some officers to help them out, or I'm sorry, CSOs to help them out. So I get those requests daily.
So you can rotate across different
Yep.
departments? So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yep. So I have a little list of the precincts and the units and
There's a question in the back.
How does this compare it to the cadet program?
So the cadet program is if you have a 2-year or 4-year degree, and then you're just accelerated into the theory and skills portion. Whereas the CSO, you can be starting from the very beginning of schooling. You see what I'm saying? Where cadet, I technically could have been a cadet, but we didn't have a cadet program, so I had to go the route of getting my law enforcement certificate and then go to theory and skills.
And that program's run as a cohort, so you come in as a group and go through that together, unlike this, which is everyone's kind of at their own pace.
Plus, that academy usually runs about around 9 months long. We get you for the first week, then after the first week, you will be off, let's say, to Henderson Technical College, finish your degree, and besides regular check-ins, we probably won't see you for at least 3-4 months. And then you'll come back as a recruit after that, and we'll start the program.
Good questions.
Do those groups start?
How often? The cadet, we just closed, and we usually do a cadet class, what, about once a year?
Once a year, yep. First one's gonna start for this year, December 27th. And oftentimes we do have overlapping classes, so we'll have a cadet class going and a recruit class going end of this year into 2022.
Yeah.
How long was your schooling after since you already finished your bachelor's degree, and there wasn't a cadet program, so how long were you doing?
Yeah, so I had to get what's called my law enforcement certificate, so I went to MCTC, and it had to have been pretty quick. I think it was maybe like 2 semesters or
There's
so.
9 classes for a law enforcement certificate, but if you already have some of the classes, then you won't have to take it. So
Yeah.
I was the same way. I have a degree, but I had sociology, and so I have a lot of the courses, so I have less classes. So it just kind of depends on what coursework you've already completed, and then they'll see what classes can transfer over to the certificate program. And
So
then
like
once you
9
finish-
classes, 2 semesters. Yeah, yeah. So it goes fairly quick. Quicker than the 4-year.
That's for sure.
This row and then over here, go ahead.
I just want to say, if you want to look for those classes, you can find them on the site. That's what I did when I was trying to figure out what classes. it
On
is.
what site?
On the post site.
Oh, on the post site.
No, there's a lot of information on the Minnesota Coast Board site that will tell you the schools, what the program, different things are about on that, so it's a good resource.
Go ahead, sir.
So I believe you spoke about mentorship, so I was wondering how does that work? Are you paired with an officer from the
Well,
program?
yeah, so do you want to talk about kind of how kind of leadership, mentorship, and how we bring people along. I think Sergeant Hanson was talking a little bit about that. Through your assignments, it's not a formal mentorship, but it is, you are mentored on kind of through your work and what you're doing, and usually you will have someone you are paired with or can go to. And just through the assignments, the various assignments, you'll meet different people that'll mentor you along the way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Once you get to your precinct or your unit or what have you, you'll get to know, you'll report to a supervisor there, whether it's a sergeant or a lieutenant. And then you just start to get to know people, and maybe one day someone says, hey, come on a ride along, and then you call me, hey Sarge, is it okay if I go on a ride along for a few hours? And I say, yeah, have fun, be safe. So just those different mentorships, that's why I say it's just really an awesome opportunity to get your foot in the door, because you just really start to build relationships just right off the get-go as a CSO. And
So you don't have FTOs during the CSO position?
No, that is when you're done with the recruit academy and you go on to your field training phase, then you will be assigned a field training officer. Yep. I'm there to help guide and mentor you, as well as the other CSOs.
I was gonna say Sergeant Hanson is a big mentor for the program. She'll be there to guide and lead you as myself. I oversee the program, and then the other CSOs as well. So when you come on as a brand new CSO, we usually pair you up at the precinct leader unit with another CSO who has been seasoned, so to say, and been around to help guide you there too while you're in there. And then during the academy time, we'll get you through some DT policy, just day-to-day things that you'll do as a CSO, and teach you then as well.
And this is the uniform?
Yes.
You have to wear a tie?
Oh no, this is what's called the Class A, the fancy.
Oh, okay.
Normally, otherwise you can wear the, what Sergeant Boyd is wearing, but gray in color.
Oh.
Yeah.
There also is a summer and a winter uniform as well.
Yeah.
So if it's hot out, wear your short sleeve. If it's not, wear your long sleeve.
Which we'll go through all that in the CSO academy. But great question. Yeah, no, you don't have to wear a tie. It can be really restrictive.
CSO recruits of all ages, or is there a maximum age limit?
All ages.
All ages.
Yep.
What's the highest age limit that you recruited?
You have this in your 50s?
Yeah.
Isn't that 50s?
I can't recall her name. But she was assigned to first precinct, I believe.
And young as 18, 19 as well.
Yeah, I had a CSO start when he was 18, so.
And the oldest is in the 50s?
I think you said that, but.
So you said we're not sworn in for this position, so I'm guessing there's like no ceremony or anything?
No, we do a ceremony.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I promise you, I take care of you. No, we make it a ceremony. We make it special, we make it fun.
Celebrated, right?
Yeah, because it's a major celebration. Please know that the process is long, I get it. But that's another reason why it's awesome, because once you make it into the CSO program, when it comes time to be promoted into the Recruit Academy, your process is shortened quite a bit. So depending on when you came on and how long you've been a CSO, right, you might have to update your background a little bit. You might have to go do your medical and psych and stuff. But it's pretty streamlined once you're a CSO going in to be a recruit. So that's
It's a promotional process at that time, so you're not, restarting over from a new hire.
So get through this, I promise you will. And, answer all the questions, I can't stress enough. How did she get there?
She was outside.
Oh.
Don't
Yeah,
mind the
that's my
person
dog.
behind the door.
It's a great program,
She's like this small, she's not, but anyways,
With our dogs.
yeah.
Might as well bring her in.
I was about to say, might as well.
When she's doing that, also remember, you guys are getting paid to be here, anywhere from, I think, $20 to $23 an hour, starting out, depending on where you are as a CSO. The moment you graduate the CSO program and come into the Recruit Academy, that's almost a 10-hour $10 an hour raise, so just remember that as well. And then when you graduate the academy, there's another take home after that. So you guys are gonna be this much higher than everyone entering the academy at the entry level for a recruit or a cadet. So just remember that too. I mean, the CSO program, I wish I had it when I came on. I came on in 1994. Oh God, it's 27 years ago. I had my 4-year degree, I was a cadet. So that was a long, long time ago, but it's well worth it. I still love this job. My entire time has been on the street as a CSO program and the last 10 years with the police academy. How many military vets, current or other, do we have? Congratulations. That's going to help you a lot too. You're really looked at as leaders. So thank you.
I can't remember where we were before Izzy May interrupted us with her little squeak.
I think unless anyone has questions, we'll be around. These fine folks will be around. Backgrounds, recruitment, Sergeant Hanson. If you have any specific questions, thank you all. Thanks for your interest in the city and in this program. Appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.